Well, welcome to the Circle Grace One. I'm your host, Chief Principal Teacher and Founder, Bishop Francis E. Revels-Bey. Thank you for joining me this evening. It's approximately 6:38 p.m. and we're broadcasting live from the Circle Grace One studios here for on the website ustream.tv. The Circle Grace One was founded on July 2nd, 1999 AD under the aegis and the anointing of the Angel of Grace through divine providence, and this is my spiritual and metaphysical ministry that is 12 years old. I've been in the field as well since July 2nd of 1974, so it's my 37th year as a spiritual practitioner and studying the various degrees of spirituality and metaphysics and mantic arts and the intuitive disciplines. I'm also one who has studied since 1973 the philosophy of Tai Chi Chuan, also a little earlier meditation in its different forms from Zen to Buddhism style meditation and just about everything else, and still working on opening myself up and expanding. I'm also a spiritualist minister. I've been a ULC minister, that's the Universal Life Church minister, and they had their issues long ago. I had nothing to do with that. I just came through there. Prior to that, I was a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America in one fashion or another. I used to hold a rank there as a Sheikh Divine Minister way back over there in Queens, New York, from March 13th, 1977, all the way up until about being from Queens and switching over to Brooklyn, and where I just decided to be just one of those faithful members for a while until I moved on in April of 1988. So I was in the Moorish Science Temple for about 11 years. But I was in numerology long before this. I was studying numerology, astronumerology with some of the philosophies of astrology tied in, and equating the numbers with the planets and the ruling signs, ruling planets with the signs. I was involved in handwriting analysis, which I still like to study. I also was involved in studying the Tarot since 1979. Handwriting is mind writing was a course I used to teach. It was all about graphology and how to pick up, use psychometry on the back of a page and feel the energy and do the interpretations that way. I also went into dowsing also during that time back in the early 80s, mid to 80s, and started getting into not only the dowsing rods but pendulums, worked with that. And in fact, I did a live webcast number 138 this morning here at the Circle Grace One channel. I gave a running analysis, I gave a well thought out and highly energetic running analysis on the different aspects of the tarot or the tarot. And then in the last 5-10 minutes I talked briefly about dowsing, how to make your own dowsing rods, and pendulums, and how to get that pendulum to swing and to express the spiritual nature of yourself. So there's a lot of things, and that show lasts about 106 minutes. So we say the bulk of that information on the tarot was on the tarot, and I would say it's probably pretty close to about 45 minutes worth of information. And I talked about the importance of understanding the four faces of God. And those four faces were the four aces. And then I also showed you the connection through with the 78 card tarot deck, and how the 52 card tarot deck grew out of that, and showed the correspondences between the two, and how with the 52 card playing deck you're missing one court card. You only have 3 court cards per suit of 4 suits. But in the tarot, with the minor arcana of 56 cards total, you have 4 suits with 14 cards, which means you carry 1 extra court card, which is a page. So I talked about that and also tied it to the Kabbalah and expressed some of the things that you find connected with that. Also, if you watch it, I make an ever so brief connection to Psalm number 119 in the Bible that shows you some connections there as well. I just mentioned it briefly. And I did at one time have some information here on Facebook about Psalm number 119 in the Bible and how it's divided into 22 sections. and then I gave the brief information about those sections. Really not the biblical side, but the Kabbalistic side, the meaning of what that energy was with the specific number that was connected to each section. And also that's connected to the 22 paths of the Kabbalah. So I talked about that briefly. And then the last 10 minutes of the show, I went in to talk about dowsing and how the art of dowsing with the dowsing rods and the willow trees used, the Y branches used specifically, and then also segued that into the use of the pendulum. And so we had a lot of information that was handed out, and as I said at the end, that came through the blessings of the Ascended Master Sananda and Malachi and Akhenaten brought that information to me as a remembrance to share that information. So if you want to watch it, you could type in www.ustream.tv then type out the word recorded, RECORDED / and then type in these numbers 161, and I don't want to mispronounce it. You're going to type in 161-27884. Now if you go over to Facebook, my Facebook fan page, you'll see it listed, or if you go to my profile page or my home page, you will see it. You'll notice there'll be a little video image with the arrow on it, and you click on it and you'll see like the Fool card, holding up the Fool card in front of my face, and that's the one that I expressed this morning. I also talked about the relationship of the Fool, the Hermit, the Magician, the High Priestess, and the Empress, and how they're all connected. I didn't even bring in the Emperor yet, but I show how they were all connected in a brief analysis. And so it was a fun way of putting that information out. Now, the Circle Grace One has its own spiritual and metaphysical ministry, because that's what it involves. It involves in all the metaphysical, spiritual disciplines that are out there, and especially the ones that I've studied in the past 37 years and continue to study and apply in my life. So it has its own spiritual and metaphysical ministry, which was founded on February the 7th, 2009 AD, which also comes under the aegis and the anointing of the Angel of Grace through divine providence. Of course, I'm the host, chief principal teacher, and founder of both, Bishop Francis E. Revels-Bey. And so there was an opportunity to share this information. So before we start any further, let me just release a prayer here. And I also want to release a meditational prayer and perhaps teach from that and tie that into the four faces of God, which is what I want to talk about, that the Tarot expresses, the four, which are really the four states of awareness and remembrance. All right, so before we get into that, let me say this. Through divine power and by divine grace, may all that come here and view this evening's program, live webcast number 139, for the Circle Grace One, special decree, and it shall be. May you be somehow blessed by it, by the words that I say, maybe the symbolism that I talk about. If it somehow resonates with you, allow it to flourish within your higher regions, higher realms of your own consciousness, and may you somehow be blessed by it. May it cause you, may it light the flame that's in your heart and cause you to delve deeper into the teachings and the spiritual path that you walk, and help you to widen your path. That's what the Circle of Grace One is all about. It has nothing to do with changing you. It's just giving you some greater insight into such as the Tarot, numerology, dreams, understanding dreams and how to apply dreams. Maybe you want to go deeper into how to do out-of-body experiences. One day we're going to talk about that also. That's right, the Circle of Grace One is also called the Circle of Divine Grace and Remembrance, and is all about putting together almost 40 years of wisdom into an institute format, and there's so many different ways. This summer, I'm just kind of taking a break here. I usually try to go on the first Tuesday night with a teleseminar, and I'm going to go back and give a teleseminar. Maybe I might do it in August, coming up in the first Tuesday of August. But we're going to get this information out. I just might start it in September. Now, of course, many of you, amen, are thinking about, well, you know, am I going to be able to get any new information at circlegrace1.net, which is the spiritual gateway for my Circle of Grace 1? Well, I've been putting it out there that I had some technical issues with laptops, so I'm waiting for another laptop to get brought here that I'm already negotiating with and having it made ready and fixed for me. As soon as I get that, I'll be able to go in and update that particular gateway website, as well as the other things that I want to put there. I'll be able to go back in and do some more work with my e-newsletter. We have July the 1st here was issue number 8 for Two Bears, which is our prepaid subscription, e-subscription that goes out, and it has some information in there, and I've been learning how to put it through my iPad too here, so it looks a little different, not quite the same way, but we're able to still get that information to you. It's an interesting way that you have to do all of this, at least for me anyway. I'm learning how to get better at using the tools, updated laser-like tools to get this work out, and I want to get out as much as I can. So, you know, just like you have holistic practitioners out there, and you have Western and Eastern doctors. Everybody has to go to their conferences, go to their schools, go back to their places of learning, or do what you can and use the internet like I'm doing to upgrade my skills. Even though I've been doing this for 37 years and my spiritual ministry for 12. So if you want, you kind of combine them together, and that's 49 years of putting things out there. So what I'm looking to do at this point, what I'm looking to do is to explore myself and make myself jump to a higher level as well. And so that's what we all have to do. We're getting ready to walk in the golden age right now. And all of these things that I'm working with from the past are just as good now. And then there's many new things that we are applying every day so that we can get better and better and better. So that's what I'm here to do, to help you basically get better and better with yourself. You know, it's all about helping each other. And lots of things, you know, you're going to come across, going to have a fee for it. But isn't life about paying for something anyway? We all have to pay for something, and we hope that what we're paying for is going to allow us to be fulfilled, and so that we can walk a little further into our path, into our destiny, and become also more enlightened. And that's what it's really about, becoming more enlightened, more attuned, self-realized, self-awareness, self-empowered, to be more sovereign. That's what it's really all about. And, you know, we're always going to hear about the negative, the negative, the negative. Well, the negative's out there. That duality is negative and the positive. You're going to hear that all the time. But it's about the community. It's about communing with the unity of oneness. Understanding where is the oneness in your own life. Where everything's on the same page. You know, the people in your life, you're seeking to be with better people of higher caliber, higher quality. And, you know, everybody will tell you. Every shaman will tell you. Every healer will tell you. Every practitioner will tell you. Even a person in everyday walk of life who's not necessarily walking the same spiritual path that you and I might be walking, but they will tell you in their own experiences when you can tell when you're about to really hit something good. And sometimes if you're having a difficult time and it's being negative with yourself, you lose people. Is that right? You lose the relationships that count if it's something negative. But if it's something positive that you're doing, sometimes you lose that too. That's right. If it's something positive and people don't agree with it, well, what you've learned to do is that sometimes you find yourself walking that positive path all by yourself. I was just speaking to a longtime friend and client today, and I was really applauding her, and she got to realize, and we were talking and giving praise about how that your words are your seeds. And sometimes you place a word and it comes back void, empty. And another time, because you have so much faith and you're filled with so much enthusiasm, which is the Spirit of God. You're full of it so much. You're brimming. You're overwhelming. You're overwhelming energy. You're overflowing with it so much that it comes back with a harvest, and you're able to reap that harvest, reap what you sow. So we talked about how, you know, she had to walk down with all of these. She had a couple of legal cases that she's got in the burner going on right now. It's been years waiting for these things, and then coming up with an appeal and walking the path. And you know, it's one of those things where you are by yourself. You know what you know, what you know. You know you've got the word. You know you got the wisdom. You know you have the understanding. And sometimes you might realize that you have been chosen to walk that path. Sometimes you don't have legal people to help you out. Sometimes you may not have family members and loved ones to walk that path with you. But you do have the resilience. You do have a firm understanding. You do have a firm spiritual understanding that's embedded way down in your cellular memory. You have the imprint of the divine plan of your destiny. You have God in your life. God is the one that's leading you in and out of every situation. And it's been said, many ministers will say, many non-ministers who are still administering to people will tell you, sometimes you got to walk through some fire before you get to see the land again, before you get to see the cool lake, before you get to see the water. Sometimes you got to go through some fire, baby. You got to go through it where it's difficult, where you're streaming, where you're crying, where you're going through it, where you're literally frustrated, but you got to keep moving straight ahead. You can't worry about what other people say. We know other people. I'm not here to preach it. I'm just here to share. To me, anyway, the word preach was each person reaching out to each and every one. Each person has the power to reach someone in their life, in their surroundings, and share the message of life. And it's all about understanding the messages that you get in your dreams, the visions that you receive. Some people are getting premonitions all the time. Some people are getting other messages in different ways. Other people are getting messages that fall out of the mouths of babes, out of children. Out of these crystal children walking around, out of some of these indigo children that are out here, and indigo adults, indigo elders walking around. Many, many, many people are now being filled with remembrance. They're now waking up. They're now touching in and tapping into that base of the skull back there, tapping into the base of the skull, where they begin to walk into their own Akashic records, and they begin to understand the streams of consciousness that are waiting to come forward, waiting to be discovered. Last weekend, I gave up 3 brief meditations. Each program I did was almost 20, 22, 23 minutes long. And the meditations, Creative Pathway Meditation, one was white light meditation, and the etheric shields, 7 etheric fields of light, and then balls of energy and light. And then I gave the crystal cavern meditation and how you find the treasure there waiting for you inside yourself. And then we went to a healing heart meditation where you begin to open up yourself for healing, for holistic healing in a different kind of way, where you get the emotional body healed. Well, all these things are being presented so that you, my listening audience, and anybody else that tunes into this can receive this. So this is an opportunity for me to share the spiritual ministry of the Circle of Grace 1 and its institute, the Circle of Divine Grace and Remembrance, with all of these teachings. And so I want to share with you, as I reach across here, I want to read something to you. This is a meditational prayer. So I want you to kick this in motion. This is a meditational prayer. This is way back in the month of May of this year. Through divine power and by divine grace, in this very moment, the divine light essence, beauty, unconditional love, and harmonic peace, called God, enters my mind, meaning your mind, and my heart, meaning your heart, lights and elevates, that means lighten up and elevates my path. Well, I'm talking about your path and your life to newer heights. So what I speak and what I teach here is decree, and it shall be. So I'm speaking this as a decree for you right now. With God, nothing is ever impossible. Because the true meaning of the word impossible, the true meaning of the word impossible means the I am, the capital I am, which is the holiest name of God, is possible. And I am, in capital letters, as God in me, possesses all abilities, as I am to be in His presence, be in the presence of the Holy Spirit, as I am. For God and I are one. I have always had the capacity to know God. This means you have always had the capacity to know God. You have, what is a capacitor? In electronics, you have diodes and you have these other things. They're all color-coded with two wires at the end. And the capacitor means when the energy passes through it, it can hold it. It means you have the capacity to hold energy. You have the capacity to filter energy, like a capacitor. I think I'm saying it right. In electronics, on an electronic board, on a motherboard, you have a capacitor, I believe that's how they call it. I have to tune in to my late dad in the ethers, because he was an electronics man. But that capacitor, if I'm saying it right, and if I'm not, forgive me on that, means there's a unit there, a mechanism, a tool, that's designed to do what? Take energy, filter it, categorize the energy. Categorize. That's what you have. You got these chakra energy fields. You got 11 of them. Actually, you got 12 of them. You got 7 down through the organs and along your neck and coming down to the middle of your spine. You got 5 more. That's 12. And these are 12 attributes of yourself, 12 personalities, 12 archetypes of you. Then there's another, before we get back here, there's another part where aboriginals have said and others have found out that counting yourself as the one soul that you have, there's 143 other soul parts of you running around in the universe. Different universes, different dimensions and realms. That's interesting, because when a shaman has to do something called like a soul retrieval, they're not only retrieving your soul, they're retrieving all the fragments of that soul back into one body. But think of all the other 143 that are out there running around that are also you. Which means you're living all these different mindsets throughout the galaxy, throughout the universe. And you're going to be able to unlock it real soon. Be able to communicate. Some people are teaching that right now. I'm not one of them, though. But hopefully one day I will be teaching and be able to share that information as well. I've done it in a theoretical form already. I know it exists. I know that there's another part of myself that I can communicate with. I know sometimes I've seen that other part. Sometimes we call it the future self. Sometimes we call it the past self. That means in another stream of a life stream, another realm of existence. That's right. Sometimes you're thinking you're living a past life, but you're living a life concurrent with your other selves. It's kind of mind-boggling, but it's all coming out. And there are many people, many people, probably close to 100,000 or more, that understand this and are actually doing it on a day-to-day basis to improve their life and improve the life of their other soul extensions and improve the life of others around them in their life. So it's an interesting concept, but I'm not going to talk about that tonight. That's something that I'm taking a deeper look at for myself. As I said, we all have to study. We all have to prepare to open our minds up so the divine mind can pour more of itself into us. So here we have a physical material body with chakra zones and organs and tendons and nerves and all the trillions of cells that are coming and going all the time in our body. Coming meaning being birthed, going meaning breaking down and dying off and dissolving and more new cells coming in. We're coming to the level where, like the yogis and the qigong masters, to be able to control that. In other words, be able to step into that zone and be able to have that experience. So as we go further in this meditational prayer, I have always had the capacity to know God in every lifetime. That means the presence of God, the I am presence of God. We've all had this opportunity, see, this capacity to know God in every lifetime and every spirit walk, every journey. Therefore, I'm truly at peace as I live the mindset of God. That means we're all getting ready to accept this self-realization, this self-empowerment that we are the presence of God. Then that means then sometimes you're at war not only with yourself, but you might be at war mentally with others trying to control or manipulate. Well, the Aboriginals also say this: you're constantly dreaming. You go to sleep at night and you dream. You wake up at night, you wake up out of the dream. Many of you have done that. You wake up out of a dream, you feel yourself, the body nature calling, and you got to run off to the restroom and release some water or other things out your system, and you hope to jump back into the dream. Sometimes you can't. You jump back in, you can't get back in. You're out. You're locked out. But you can begin to train or entrain your own brain within yourself, your subconscious self, to be able to step back into that realm and then continue. That's like you do when you're driving and you're taking a road trip, right? You're driving your car, not taking mass transportation like a train or a plane or a subway or a bus. You're driving your own personal vehicle, right? Your own vessel on the road. And then you got to make a pit stop. You got to go to the restroom. You got to get some food in you, or maybe you carried some food, so you're going to take a snack break. Then you're going to sit there and have your car checked out, the oil, the transmission, right? You're going to have all of that, the water, coolant. You're going to make sure all of that's okay before you step back on the road. Or maybe you find a hotel or an inn to go to so you can sleep overnight. But you're going to take care of that vehicle, that vessel, so that you can get to your destination. It's the same with yourself. You're taking care of yourself. But the difference is when you have that personal road trip, or maybe you go with others, friends, loved ones, and you are driving, all of you are driving, it's very easy what? Sometimes you do get lost, but it's very easy to get back on the path. You got a GPS to a satellite, bring it right back on the road, hopefully in the right direction without driving all over the place. How many people have a GPS on their cell phone and one on their car, and sometimes they're at odds? One is sending you in a great big circle, the other one is sending you in a shortcut. And you may not even know the shortcut is there, but you're trusting it. You're trusting what you're hearing. So, think of it this way. You got an inner GPS. You got an inner GPS that's serving you. You got a spirit that provides for you, that brings grace. God's grace is providing a service to you. His spirit is guiding you. And you're picking up on it in your gut feeling, your psychic gut feeling, or better yet, your intuitive nature is picking up on it, and then it's leading you in the right direction so that you don't get off the beaten path. You don't get off track. You're on track so you can go right to your destination. It is the same here. You're with and living in the mindset, set in the mind. That's what a mindset is, seated in the mind. Mind is the totality. That's what the four faces of God are in the Tarot. The four faces of God in the Tarot is the mind. What is the mind? There's an emotional mind or a creative mind that involves an astral mind, a psychic mind. Then that's the cups, the water element, the womb of the mind, the center of the mind. All right. That's where woman comes in. Woman is the center of the mind. Man means mind. In that sense, man is an idea, and woman is an idea of the grand spirit. The grand provider, which is spirit. GPS, the grand provider, the greatest provision put before you is spirit. That's taking you where you have to go. And both come in, not entangled, but interlaced, so they're working together. Why? To get to the same goal. from within, right here, right now, from within. Not, I didn't say from without, I said from within, in with yourself. So here the Aboriginals say every time you're dreaming, your brain is constantly at work. Your body is rested, however, it's working too. And your subconscious is receiving, taking in all of this information that you allow for it to come in. So this is why you have to act like the guardian at your own door and act as a filter, so all the right material gets into the subconscious mind. And so that there's no negativity, there's no doubt, there's no illusions there in your subconscious. There's nothing there but pure positive information that you could use at any given time. So this is the mindset of God within, right here and right now. For in the creation and the birth of each moment, that's right, we're living moment to moment, not year to year, day to day, week to week, month to month. It's really moment to moment. What is the moment? Mo is Latin for primal or first. Ment meaning the condition, dealing with the mind, dealing with your thoughts. Our thoughts or thinking process, our thoughts are the language of the brain. Computing all the time. Computing what? All these words. And it's interesting. Where it doesn't matter you're speaking American English, like I like to call it, or the King's English, or you're speaking languages you find over there in Europe, or you're speaking, going back ancient Latin languages, or going into Hebraic languages, or the Arabic languages, or Cantonese, Mandarin, all these different dialects, looking at what? Hindu, or the Hindi languages and everything like that. It's amazing. But every bit of those information, even in the Native American having their information, and from the Aztecs to the Mayans to the Navajo to the Apache to the Cherokee to the Lenape, everybody's got their language and got their phrases and got their words and got their tones that are talking about what? Spirit and direction and personalities and archetypes. The mindset. The mindset, setting oneself in the center of the mind of all that is you. All right? For in the creation and birth of each moment, God is eternal and eternally present. God is eternal and eternally present. So when we're looking at the four faces of God in the Tarot that we talked about this morning, that's the ace. Ace is perfection, oneness, unity, number one. And we're going into that vibration all the time. We're seeking information. We're seeking light all the time. We're looking into the heart of light and understanding energy all the time. There is this opportunity where we're seeking the greatness of ourselves all the time. We're seeking to witness the beauty and the harmony of who we are all the time. So, what are the aces, as they say? This is the program called Decree and It Shall Be. We're decreeing the understand. Decree is an authoritative spiritual statement where there's no doubt in your mind that what you're about to say is going to kick forth the truth. In other words, like the sister said to me over the phone, she was talking to someone, she said, when I speak a word, it does not come back void. It doesn't come back empty. It comes back with a fullness. She speaks forth a word which is a seed which brings forth a fruit of her within her consciousness, within her surroundings, speaking it from the inside, where in the Tai Chi, Wei Wu, I think it's called, and there's emptiness. We try to get to that point of emptiness, absolute emptiness, so what? You could put forth some real dynamic chi, boom, and send it through your body out into your surroundings. So, we're putting all this information to let you know that you have this ability. So when you decree something, you're decreeing something and causing it that is already manifested, already preordained in the spirit world, and you're going to call it forth and make it what? Materialize. You're taking the impossible, what appears not impossible, meaning that in one sense, appearing that it's almost impossible. How are you going to bring an unseen thing into the scene? You can't. And we're in this time frame now where the unseen becomes seen, and the seen becomes the unseen. This is what the Aboriginals are talking about. You're dreaming all the time. So perhaps when you go to sleep at night, that's when you're having your best life. That's when you're working some things out in your sleep. That's when you're understanding conditions and people and personalities and events and figuring things out and getting answers to your questions. That's when you feel that you're living a better life. You ever had dreams of, wow, boy, I sure hated to wake up this morning. Man, that dream was something else. I didn't want to come back. I've led some meditations that were so deep, guided meditations, where people said, man, I didn't even want to come back out of that meditation. I was in it. I was walking. I was moving. I was seeing. Well, now we're going to take the meditation, and we're going to make the meditation be so powerful to you, so full of the Spirit of God in the meditation, that the meditation is now in this realm with you. When you come out, you start bringing the energy with you. You bring the awareness. You bring the remembrance with you. So in the four faces of God in the Tarot, Ace of Pentacles. Pentacles, that's which is perfected in you. Things that you worked on and that you caused to become more concrete, more from the physical to the material. That's what happens when you go to college. You ever talk about they're going to matriculate some points, some credits? Huh? You pay for the credits for each course that you're taking. You know, each credit costs something. For each course has a certain amount of credits. Some of them are 3 credits, some of them are 4 credits, and you're paying for the credits. But you got to accumulate X amount of credits in order to graduate. If I'm not mistaken, I had to have something like 124 credits. Well, I went to college a long time ago. 124 credits over 4 years. Each semester I had to have X amount of credits in order to graduate. Over 120 some odd credits so I can graduate. That's accumulated. So when you walk through all of this and you see all of that, and you get, that's why you have an accredited institute, because the students get credit. Just like you try to establish good credit by buying things and paying it off on time. Credit system, this point system, right, that the economists and everybody else use. But really doesn't matter. God has got something better than that. God's got something that supersedes all of that. God's got something that puts sovereignty right in your hand. God's got something called truth, awareness, remembrance. And all you got to do is build the integrity in yourself. Build the faith and let the faith demonstrate for you that you can be okay. And you're not, sometimes you're not winning all the time, but you're not going to be losing all the time either. In fact, you're not going to get to the point where you're forever losing. You're always going to be gaining. So, we got the aces, the 4 aces, the 4 perfect units. The Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Cups. What are the cups? The cups are dealing with matters of the heart, psychic energy, astral energy, creativity at its best. The cups represent the womb. It's a cup. It's a cup. When people talk about the Holy Grail, the chalice, you're it. You got a Holy Grail too. It's a material form. When we talk about when you're in college, you matriculating credits. What are you doing? You're taking the credit, you're working on something, excuse me, building up these credits so that you can get ready to graduate, matriculate from mom. Hey, don't they ask you, what's your alma mater? What's your alma mater? What is alma? What is the mother that made you? What college made you, matriculated you, spit you out? So that you can have what? A bachelor's of arts, bachelor of science, or master of arts, master of science, or PhD. It's interesting how all these words and terms are somehow connected in a very subtle, symbolic, spiritual form. So the next time you hear that, someone says, what's your alma mater? Al, A-L. Derivative of E-L. The. Ma, short for mother. Which is the main mother. That birthed you. Because that's what happens when you go to college, and then you go to universities as a collection of colleges. That's why they call it a university. You go to a university of this and a university of that. Actually, university is supposed to study the conditions of the universe, of the one verse, the one word, the one song. but it has many connotations now. And you're looking to do what? Be matriculated, be birthed through the womb of the mother college, the mother university. Alma mater. Mater means mother or womb. Alma means the mother or womb of that. The boss. Who's the one who made you, caused you to go through all of that and study all of those things and get those degrees. And what is a degree? Many things. A degree is just not that piece of paper. Another side of the word degree is this. A degree is an increment of light or truth. So what degrees or what truths did you learn? Did you acquire so you can get that bachelor degree, all that master's degree, all that what? PhD, degree of philosophy, philosopher's degree. You're supposed to understand the science of life, of all of that you've been studying. But you've already been preordained because you've already been given the degrees at birth. You have already been blessed with the knowledge at birth. You already walked in and came through the womb at birth. Your soul already carried a multitude of infinite data already, acquired from lifetimes, various life streams of parallel universes already. And then you decided to come down here and live it and work it and breathe it and experience it and get all the ups and downs of being in a human form, but still remembering that that human form is connected up to human mind, mixed man mind, mixed man, mixed mind, mixed thought, spiritual thought, and physical thought coming together. So all of these things are there. So you have to decide, which thing is going to entrain your mind, be trained from in, that's going to capture your mind. The mind is the four states of awareness, the four states of remembrance. Then you go into the swords. And I talked about that this morning. What are the swords? Well, the swords in one school of thought is fire. But the thought, it's air, it's mental. Spirit is fire, spire, inspire, aspire, spirit, fire. Fire is primal electricity, first level materialized of electrical energy. Then you've got magnetic energy and electric energy. You got protons, 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 which is electrical energy, and electrons. But the electrons always show the minus sign. That's the magnetic one, the electrons. Even though the word elect is sitting there like you're voting for that to be the best. Yeah, you're just playing around with words here. We got electrical and magnetic sides of ourselves, and that's all the way out in the universe. Electrical and magnetic energy. You got charged particles called ions. And they're deep in every particle within your body. Every particle in your being is expressing that. And then you got the rods. And I talked about this. Rod, the Ace of Rods was talking about Aaron's rod. He was a Levite. Over there in the Levites. Aaron was like the priest of Moses. Moses was the prophet. Trying to work all this energy. Getting all this energy. Understanding all this energy. Now, I don't profess to have all the answers. I just know what works for myself, and I do my best to share that with you, my viewing audience. And it's up to you to take it and run with it and work it out and see what you can see. See what you can apply and make it very practical for yourself. See, we're always studying from the time you hit the planet till the time you leave the planet. Even when you leave the planet, you're going someplace else to study, to acquire more information, more knowledge, and more wisdom, more understanding, and have more harmonic peace in your life on another dimension, another realm. So you're looking at what's the earth of earth and the water of water and the air of air and the fire of fire. Then you're looking at the earth of water, the air of water, the fire of water, and so on and so on and so on. All these are interlocked. Spirit, intuitive nature. Now think of intuitive nature like into it. I'm getting into it. I'm understanding it. What is it? Spirit, or the answers that you're seeking. You're looking for yourself. That's all we're looking for. We're seeking ourselves. We're seeking ourselves within this greater plan. we're seeing all this plans, excuse me, we're seeing all these plans out here amongst us. We're doing our best to what? Uncover, recover, and discover ourselves, where we are today. So what are you looking for today? What are you looking, what are you attempting to seek to find today in your life? Are you seeking what is the material side and the physical side of your life? Are you looking for the psychic side, emotional side, creative side, which is the water element of you? Are you seeking, or the womb element? In the womb is not water there. Are you seeking, are you seeking, it says, are you looking for what's in the brain? Are you looking for those, when you do meditation and endorphins, the chemical kick forth and you have that sense of utopia or euphoria, and you're going and you're finding in the bliss? Are you seeking it? Are you looking? What are you looking for? And when you find it, can you apply it right away? Can you make it practical and down to earth for yourself? So I want to thank so many people that I found on Facebook that are out there. I'm not the only one into numerology. There are tons of people in there, and they're sharing that wisdom out there all the time. And I'm so excited to see other people sharing it, putting it out there, doing their own teleseminars, doing their own meditations, doing their creative, artistic work. I'm happy to see it. Why? Because the spirit of divinity is what is causing us to create all the time. We create from the subconscious to the unconscious to the conscious to the superconscious. We're consciously creating, or sometimes we're unaware that we're creating. So that's why we go into the fields of meditation and the fields of prayer and the fields of affirmations and affirmative prayers to work on ourselves and become what? Make it more practical. So we can breathe it, we can understand it, we can comprehend it. We can dance in the light of divine grace, like I wrote a book once, Dancing in the Light of Divine Grace. Moving from what I felt was an ordinary life that became an extraordinary life because I started to wake up. Now we started to wake up. Now is, can we be conscious while we are wide awake instead of asleep? Can we be consciously wide awake, meaning aware of what's going on? From this unseen to the seen, from the sublime and the subtle to right there in your face. Well, it's important for each and every one of us to wake up to that. So we don't have to think that something's impossible anymore. Anytime we think something is impossible, you better believe that inside you, God says it's not impossible, because I'm living inside of you. And I'm going to help you turn it around and make it possible. Why? So you can find out that you own the abilities to make it happen. You're able. You can make it happen. You make it happen in your own time, in your own walk. Some move fast, some move slow. You're not here to compete with anybody. You're not here. Spirit says you're not here to compete, but you're here to be a pioneer. Mika Jail says it. He says, I was a pioneer. I had to break away from my family at some point. I had to break away from the hold of my father ruling in my life. I had to bring out these creative ideas. A lot of people did it. Didn't the late Marvin Gaye do it? Aries' brother, born April the 3rd, didn't he do it? For Motown, he sung all those tunes, and then he sang with Tammy Terrell, and then he walked into a whole nother life with his music. He wanted to make a change. Remember that tune, What's Going On? That played in my college senior years, 1973 to 1974. What's going on? Mother, mother, what's going on? Made a change. Because inside there was that change. Same with the great Stevie Wonder, born May 13th, Taurus, made that change. He started writing the Keys of Life and all this other stuff, and wow, broke through with brand new music. Michael Jackson went from studying all the R&B people to breaking out into his own records, his own music. Completely different from what we knew him to be. Mika Jail now is singing in the heavens, dancing in the ethers around us, getting us what? To explore, to go further with our creativity. So many people have done it. Even the late Miles Davis did it. He went from straight jazz and bebop in his time to some hardcore avant-garde jazz. And people thought it wasn't going to go anywhere. And then all of a sudden, 10 years went past and they had to acknowledge it. He was a trendsetter. He was a pioneer. Well, many of us are agents of the divine. We're pioneers too. And we're here to take things to a whole new level for ourselves also. So my question to you, and it's also to the other parts of myself, the other 143, what can we do to come together and learn from each other? What can you do to come together within yourself? Sometimes family member may not be there for you. Sometimes a loved one may walk away and think you're crazy. You're barking up the wrong tree. Sometimes close friends may kick you to the curb. You don't know what you're talking about. Why you want to talk about that old metaphysical stuff? Why you talk about that spiritual stuff? But something is yearning on the inside that's causing you to reach out, and then spirit. Spirit on the inside of you is urging you to turn that page. Your spirit on the inside, the God inside of you is saying, go outside and study your Tai Chi postures. Sit in one of those postures as a meditation pose, just like the yogi masters do. Sit in a full lotus and meditate on the pose. Take a warrior stance, meditate on the pose. Take a lion stance, meditate on the pose. And keep meditating on the pose till it comes to it opens itself unto you. Qigong movements, you keep working until it opens up to you. Embrace a tree. Inspect the blade of grass till it opens up, the energy opens up to you. See, we have to work on it ourselves. And when it begins to blossom on the inside, when it begins to wake you up on the inside, oh man, you start waking up on the inside. And I can tell you, no one from the outside can deter you from what's going on the inside. The outside does not control you. We just have been taught to think the outside. What goes on outside, what we see, is actually controlling. We all come to the understanding, all realization that it's on the inside. I used to teach something even before I understood it. I used to teach something called, way back in the 80s, early 80s, called Dreaming for Success. How to take the dream and consciously, before you go to sleep, design how you want that dream to be, which means you start speaking to your higher self. You say, higher self, I want you to show me the success parts. What do I need to do to make tomorrow better for me? And if you keep doing it and keep doing it, after a while, you go off to sleep. And you begin to channel even in your sleep. You begin to journey, have the soul traveling in your sleep, and go to various places. We call the soul universities. And you start getting all that information coming back. And then, even before you go to sleep, you ask, you state, I want to remember. It is my desire to remember and to bring it back to my conscious awareness when I wake up, that I will know where I went, who I spoke to, what information I got, and then I can apply it in my waking state. Now, here we are. We're living from the heart, living from the seat of compassion, the heart center, the heart chakra. The seat of compassion and divine grace, awareness and remembrance. The heart is now a place of intelligence. People are saying this now. Scientists are saying this is a place of intelligence. Is in the heart. It knows. It understands. Oh, soul is sitting in there. God consciousness is sitting there. You now have aligned your heart with the heart of your soul. Your soul has decided to compact yourself inside within your etheric form and all your other chakra zones. But now you're beginning to see through the eyes of your higher self. You're beginning to understand that you're more than what meets the eye. You're not just have a complexion with underneath the skin with all these billions of pores, underneath it all the palms. That you got nerve endings at the tips of your fingers. You're more than that. You're more than the bones inside. You're more than the complexion that you have. You're more than the teeth in your head, the vertebrae up and down your spine. You're more than that. You're more than all the tendons in your body, all the organs, all the glands in your body. You're more than the bloodstream in the body, more than the cells that are even in the bloodstream in the body. You're more than the hairs on your head and on your body. You're more than that. You're more than that. You're more than the books that you read, the CDs and DVDs that you watch and listen to. You're more than that. You're more than all the paintings you can see in any museum around the world. It doesn't matter if it's the Louvre or the Metropolitan or the Whitney or the Guggenheim or the Museum of Natural History of Albuquerque or New York City. Doesn't matter. You're more. You're beyond that. More than the Hayden Planetarium can show you. You're more than that. But we have to free up the brain and free up the four states of consciousness, the four states of mind, the four states of awareness. Because in those four states of awareness are what? The four states of remembrance. What do you know? What are you aware of? What do you remember that's connected to your physical body, your material body? What do you remember about your emotional nature? What do you remember about your mental nature? What do you remember about your spiritual nature? What is the word nature? It comes from the Greek word natura, meaning studying from the sparks of divine life, subatomic structure, atomic structure, molecular structure, all the way up to the stellar structure. I mean the constellations. The nature of something. What is the nature of the thing? What is the name? What can we call it? What are the composite components that make up what we're studying? The thing becomes an entity. It takes on life. What is it that we're looking at? Now, I'm not a scientist by any means. I am a numerologist. I am one who studies numbers. I am one who, but when you look, I teach all my students, all you're doing with the numbers, just like an astrologer, is you're becoming an astute observer. You're becoming an astute observer. You're seeking information around yourself in the world around you. So once you have some basic information of what the numbers 1 through 9 mean and 10 through 22 and the master numbers, the basic master numbers that everybody like to look at, 11, 22, and 33, but you go through the double cipher, triple cipher, quadruple cipher, quintuplet cipher, sextet, septet, octet, whatever, octet, however you want to do it. You can keep going and going and going and going and going. Get all the zeros, all the ones, all the nines. You can go up to 999,999 or more than that. It's to infinity. Do you know when you study math, and even when you do numerology, that you start attuning everything within yourself? It makes you more articulate. It makes you more studious. Start dealing with practical and impractical things, symmetrical and asymmetrical things, images. Do you know when children study music, they become better at their math? And all they're doing is basic counting. Basic count. I remember when I studied music, late Dr. Keene, Henry Keene, he was from the Jamaican Islands, and he taught me. He was my father's radio and TV client, and my father knew I wanted to learn the guitar. Again, I had a guitar teacher, but he was always late. He was a good guy, but he had too many students. He was always late. So my father realized that he had this client, and this client told my father he learned 28 different instruments. The man mastered 28 different instruments. He ran the naval, I believe he was a conductor for the naval band at one point when he was in the Navy. This gentleman he was like my second father, but in music. The man was a master of all the string instruments. The man could play the viola, the cello, the big double bass, and the violin fluently. He could tune it, and he knew it. He could play the guitar, the ukulele, the banjo. I saw all these instruments in his closet. He had a split-level house. And he had 2 children, which I never met. They were much older than me, but they were graduates of Juilliard. The man was dynamite. Dynamite. His wife, she was a choral person. She led the choir in the church, and they went to one of the big churches there in Manhattan. So these people, I say, were deep. He wrote music. And I remember when I couldn't understand the music, you know what he used to do for me? I had a hard time understanding a whole note, a quarter note, an eighth of a note, a 16th of a note. You know what he did for me? He man bought a roll of $10 in quarters and singles. And this is how he got my attention about music, counting out music. He said, how many quarters make up a dollar? I said, four. 4 quarters make up a dollar. Well, here are your quarter notes. Each one of them are 25 cents. Get that in your mind. He was creative at teaching. He knew that I wanted to understand. I wanted to be able to read music for myself. He asked me, he says, why do you want to learn music from me? And I told him, I don't know if it was a good answer. So I want to learn how to write my own music. Not just play somebody else's music, but write my own. He said, wow. Okay, I'm going to show you how to write your own music. But you got to learn how to read it first. And this man, I'm playing a guitar. I had an acoustic guitar and an electric guitar. We didn't even plug in the electric guitar. I come down in his little basement area, his little music room, a 10 by 12 foot room adjacent behind his garage. Well insulated with carpet. Be there in the wintertime, it was warm and snug. In the wintertime, it was nice and cool. And his wife would make up the bun bread sandwiches, the bun with the bread with the cheese in it. I hadn't a clue. I just enjoyed it. And a hot cup of tea during the wintertime. And we'd sit down there, and I would be with him on a Saturday. Put it this way, he was like almost man-sitting, teenage sitting with me. My father and mother ran a radio and TV. The reason I'm saying this, because when you find somebody that wants to learn something, it's like you open your heart. This man was charging my father $10 an hour. But you know what? My mother would drop me off every Saturday morning at this man's house. Actually, I'd show up. My class was at 11 o'clock in the morning. And he'd walk out, and he would tell, my mother said, I'll see you at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, $20 every Saturday. They laying out $80. $80 for me to learn how to play the guitar a month back then. But you know what? This man had such a heart of gold as a master teacher. I'm going to call him a grandmaster teacher. He's like a red belt. 28 instruments. He knew all the instruments in a symphony orchestra. He could play them all. Man was fabulous. My mother and father, either one would drop me off at his house, and I wouldn't see them until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Why? This man taught me music and life. When my parents would call up and say, we're coming by to pick him, I said, no, he's having a great time. You don't worry about it. You can come see him at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. That's how potent my Saturdays were. Someone that took time with me to show me. And when he busted out those 4 quarters, he said, look at that. I want you to study that. What's a quarter note? 1/4 of a whole note. What's 25 cents? 1/4 of a dollar. What's a dollar? A whole note. I said, well, what? He said, well, what's a half note? Half note. Half note is a half note. 50 cents. 2 quarters or a 50-cent coin. And man, we would punch this thing out just through money. But he taught me. Caught my attention. He was a creative thinking man. He caused me to think. Not just play an instrument, but think. He used to say stuff like this. You playing music, you find somebody tapping to the music, even though they tell you they don't like the music, but they tapping their finger on the table on the feet, you got them. He said, you make a mistake, play through it. Sometimes mistakes are good. I would play a mistake, play through it. Don't freeze up. Play right on through it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Inside, there are gifts inside of you. Don't be afraid. Play through your mistakes. Don't let your mistakes hold you back. That's what he was telling me. Everybody makes a mistake. Everybody. Everybody errs every now and then. ERRS, makes an error every now and then. It happens in baseball. Did you see that? A guy drops a ball, instead of throwing somebody. That's an error. Guy throws a ball past first base, creating an error. Everybody does it. Nobody perfect. The best athletes in the world. The guys you see in the pros are the guys that just happen to make it. But if they make too many mistakes, or if they're in a slump, they send them guys back to the minors, and someone from the minor comes up, minor league team, gets a chance. And look at all the people who are in the minor leagues that never get a chance to come up. playing AAA ball, baseball, never get a chance to play professional ball. They don't get a chance to realize their dreams as professionals. And this is why when you have some people that make it to the pros, man, they're humble when they get there, because they could have been in the minors, or they came out of the minors and they earned a spot, and now they're there to stay. This is why you got guys playing American football in Canada, in Europe, and in Tokyo, and all these places. Why? They can play, live their dream. Not everybody gets a chance to live their dream in sports. But you know what? If you keep working at it, tell your children, keep working at it, you can live your dream right now. That's what the Aboriginals say. What you see right now, you dreamt long ago. You go to sleep at night, you dream in it again, but something new. That dream that you have at night, in your deepest moments of sleep, is the one you really want to be at. So you gotta bring it into the light. That which is in the dark must be brought into the light. I'm not talking about anything negative. That's what you have in a dream state. In your sleeping state, you want to bring into what? Right here, so you get the light. So, what are you bringing? What light are you bringing to the forefront these days? What light? What light are you looking to bring out of yourself? What light are you finding deep in the womb of your own consciousness? The womb is your subconscious. What are you seeking to bring forward? The ancient Egyptian master Akhenaten says this: there are things that you are seeking to share with others, but first you must uncover for yourself. You must come to know it and embrace it and make it a part of yourself. Make it a part of your life. There are many things that you are seeking to make a part of your life. And what are you seeking to make a part of your life? What? Self. You've got so many tools, and you're seeking to make these tools a part of your life. You are handed gifts, etched in the palm of your right and your left hand. Gifts. That's what a palm reader does. People say, oh, that's parlor stuff. No, it's not. A good palmist will tell you, every part of the line in your hand corresponds to the lines, the maps in your life. Maps of the consciousness, of what direction. The unseen, things that have not quite yet come into fruition. And then your power hand, the hand you write with, is the seen. What are you doing with what you were born with? That's the beauty of palmistry. Palmistry is to study all the various lines in your hand. They speak a message to the world. That someone who understands it, they can speak a message to you. You should study palmistry. Which gives me a hint. Maybe next Wednesday I'll come out and talk a little bit about palmistry, so you can get some understanding with that too. When you would like to know about this finger, this finger, this finger, this finger, this finger, and not what people use these fingers and create the fists, and what they call amounts. When you like to know that, I'm going to draw a hand, a facsimile of a hand, and I'm going to show you what the different lines represent, so that you, when you're shaking hands all the time, you look at someone's hand and you can start to get an idea. What type of personality am I dealing with? What kind of person am I? What's my mom like? What's my grandmother like? My granddad? What's my son like? What's my daughter? What's my little baby boy, baby girl like? Look at the palms. You can learn a lot about a person by looking at the palms of their hands. People say, hey, people bite their fingernails. Hey, that's nothing. Look at the shape of the hand. That'll tell you something. Look at the lines on the inside of the hand. That will tell you something. Look at the redness in the hand, how red the hand is, how light the palms are. That tells you something. Look at the stiffness of the thumb, or how flexible it is. That tells you something. I'm going to tell you some things that I've learned about palmistry. I'm going to share with you. If I'm going to make a note of it. Next week, let's go and look at palmistry on a Wednesday morning. Or let me give you a little short discourse on it one day of what these things are. No joke. There's no accident that when people get in trouble, you go down to the police department, what is the first thing they do? Fingerprint you. Take your thumb, your index, your middle finger, your ring finger, and your pinky finger. Huh? Why? So they can identify you. No two fingerprints are the same. And have you ever seen fingerprints with a bullseye? That's a different kind of hand. That's not your regular hand. Some of you got a spiraling line. But I've seen a finger where it just circles upon circles and then a circle in the middle. Not the thing spiraling into it, not a wave like this. Actually, that's a special kind of person. That's a person with a lot of power. Sometimes they don't know they have the power. Sometimes they do and they misuse the power. Misuse the authority that they were given in their life, that they put there to work with. Palmistry is very unique. Very unique. There's something when you put the rings on each one of your fingers. I like to wear the rings in different parts. Sometimes I don't wear it. Sometimes you wear rings on your finger, you constrict the energy. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. If that was the case, many people out here that wear the rings should have a lower vibration. Some have very high vibrations with their rings on because they know what they're doing. There's certain metals that you should wear, certain metals you don't need to wear. We're going to go into that one day. We're going to talk about that. Maybe in some of my random broadcasting we'll come up with palmistry, show you how to look at palmistry. There's so many things I'd like to share. And I'm putting this out in an introductory form. Why? Because in this introductory form I can introduce you to the Circle of Divine Grace and Remembrance, which is the Spiritual and Metaphysical Institute for the Circle of Grace 1, which is my spiritual and metaphysical ministry. So if you'd like to be in touch with me, you can always email me at iam.circleofgrace with the number 1, figure of the number 1 at the end, at yahoo.com. Or use Bishop Francis, BISHOPFRANCIS as one word, at circleofgrace with the number 1 at the end, .net. Those are 2 ways in which you can email me. You also Skype me. Those of you that had Skype, you can Skype me also. I'm listed as brother_Francis, if you need to know. And I may not accept your request if I don't know who you are, so you best send me an email first, okay? But you can Skype me. My phone number, Skype number is 973-685-5978. That's 973-685-5978. When you call that, you can call it between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time or Eastern Standard Time, between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. You can try calling it best on the first Saturday of each month, on most Saturdays, but I try to pick the first Saturday. Call it 973-685-5978, the first Saturday between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. Just leave your message. There's an outgoing message there on the Skype number that lasts about 30-45 minutes. Then you can leave your message up to about a minute long. And always give me your 10-digit phone number, your first and last name, the best time to reach you, and what you're calling about. Maybe you're asking about my classes. I'm very serious about what I teach, and I like to have a lot of fun teaching it. Now, there have been some people that call, and you have some pranksters sometimes, well, I don't return your call. And if I sense that you're doing something that's incorrect, I don't call you back. So make sure, if you want to be in touch with me, that you're serious about learning this and sharing this information. All right? I'm here to share it and to teach it as well. You could also call me at 505-717-4722. That's my spiritual prayer, affirmative prayer, meditation, and decree request line. And when I give you the laid out, 505-717-4722, if you have a landline phone, that's 505-717-GRACE. 717 connected to Albuquerque, 505 for the state of New Mexico. Once I get there. You can give that call. You can give that call, and when you listen to it, there's like a minute and a half multi-purpose decree that just may very well soothe you when you listen to it. Or you can call the Circle of Grace 1 mobile number, 908-878-2978. When you call the 505-717-GRACE, which is 505-717-4722, you can call that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're going to hear that multi-purpose decree. And then I'll know when you call because it'll ring to an email for me, and I know that you call. So the best way is leave your phone number. Do not have it show up as unavailable, or Yes, I'm psychic. Yes, I have some spiritual abilities, but I'm not going to use them to try to decipher who called. If I see a number that's unknown or, unavailable, leave your number, okay? Do not be afraid to leave your number. Also, if you call the same thing, the mobile number for the Circle of Grace 1, however, this number, 908-878-2978, only call it Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. only, 908-878-2978, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Eastern Savings Time. I usually don't answer on a Friday or a weekend. All right? Many people are calling all the time, so be patient. Leave your 10-digit phone number. That's your 3-digit area code, your 3-digit exchange number, and your 4 digits that follow. The best time that I can call you back in a brief message of what you're calling about. Maybe you want to have classes with me. Always, I'm mentoring people, teaching people. And again, if you have Skype, we can do a video chat as well. Especially if you have Skype cam, video camera set up through your Skype, we can do that. If you got an iPad too, we can connect that way too. I got one now. So we can do a video chat that way. So thank you so much for watching and listening to this program. We've gone about a little over 76 minutes. The Circle of Grace 1 was founded on July 2nd, 1999 AD under the aegis and the anointing of the Angel of Grace through divine providence. It's my spiritual metaphysical ministry, which is now 12 years old. I've been in the field approximately 37 years. The Circle of Divine Grace and Remembrance is the spiritual and metaphysical institute for the Circle of Grace 1. So the Circle of Grace 1 is also the Circle of Divine Grace and Remembrance. You can follow me on Twitter, Twitter, that's Sir of Grace 1 Inst. That's capital CIROF, capital GRACE with the number 1, capital I, lowercase NST. And that right there, Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter. I give out a lot of spiritual, inspirational messages that go out in 140 characters or less, and put that information out. Sometimes I advertise some of my classes and things, but I like to give out information there. Also, what you can do is go to Circle of Grace 1 fan page at Facebook, and if you like it, become a member, okay? And I'll put you in there. Try to follow some of the information. Hey, that's another way of finding out when I'm broadcasting and things of that nature. Well, thanks so much for watching tonight's program when you get a chance. I want to thank people all the way around the world, Americans all over the world that are serving us in the military forces. Thank all of those that are teaching English for a second language wherever you are in the world. Thank you if you're in Canada, North America, South America, Central America, North, South, East, and West, Northwest, Southeast, Southwest, and Northeast, all over the United States. All over, from the West Coast, Mountain Time, Central Time, Eastern Coast Time. Thank you so much. Thank you out there in Milan, Italy, and Rome, Italy, people over there in the Netherlands of Amsterdam. Thank you, all the people in Denmark, Germany out there. Thank you so much for tuning in whenever you can to the show. Thank you so much if you're way out there in Honolulu, Hawaii. Thank you so much if you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, watching my shows, Rio Rancho watching my shows, and Santa Fe watching my shows whenever you can. Thank you so much out of Charlotte, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, and Durham, North Carolina. Thank you so much. New York City, the 5 boroughs of New York City, 2 counties, Nassau and Suffolk County on Long Island. Thanks so much for tuning in. Down in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, thank you. Baltimore, Maryland, thank you very much. Thank you. So many people. Ocala, Florida, Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Miami, Florida, down to Florida Keys. Thank you so much. Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth, Texas sometimes, Katy, Texas sometimes. Thank you so much. Round Rock, Texas. Thank you so much. Chicago, Illinois, Olmsted, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you. Columbus, Ohio. Detroit, Michigan. Thank you for watching the show. Mobile, Alabama. Thank you so much. New Orleans, Louisiana. Thank you so much. Metairie, Louisiana. Thank you so much. Lots of people tuning in. Denver, Colorado. Thank you very much. Way up there in Kirkland and Seattle, Washington. Thank you. Oakland and Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Jose, and La Jolla, California. Thank you. Hopefully I covered everybody. Some of my friends in Brazil, thank you. Down in New York City and Newark, New Jersey, thank you. That's enough. I'm going to close out, let my throat get some rest. Check that message that I just heard come in on the Circle of Grace 1 mobile number. Circle of Grace 1, getting ready to sign out. Weekly show, Decree and It Shall Be. Thank you for watching live webcast number 139. And this one for Wednesday night is Decree and It Shall Be. I'll be back next Wednesday. Next Wednesday is what? Is July the 27th. I'll be back with live webcast number 140 in the morning at around 11 a.m. and in the evening roughly around 6:30 a.m. with live webcast number 141. Maybe we'll talk about palmistry, a little bit of palmistry and live webcast number 140. Well, thank you very much. You have a blessed evening, a good evening, and remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. Take care now, and see you soon.